guys, it's me, Rena from Snailworks Crochet. Today is February 2nd, and in the spirit of my Finish It February month, I was thinking, let's see how many skeins of yarn I use up in a month. I kind of have been tracking that in general overall of how many skeins I finish. But I was thinking, let's document it in a video form this time, for at least this month. It also helps that February is the shortest month of the year, so, little bit less commitment, right? Just a little bit. This idea is not original or new. It's inspired by Passionate Kelsey's How Much Yarn Do I Use in a Month videos, but she's a full-time fiber artist, and I work a full-time job and not fiber arts. So I kind of want to see what it looks like as someone who kind of just crochets as their hobby versus, a full-time fiber artist. I will be tracking this in a similar way that she does by finished skeins of yarn. So for example, if I make a project but there's still quite a bit of yarn left, I am not going to count that as my yarn used. However, if there's like a half use skein of yarn, but I do finish the yarn skein, then I will count that. So I think between full skeins of yarn and half use skeins of yarn, it kind of will add up a little bit to yarn used over the month. I am filming this intro on February 2nd of 2025. I didn't really get to filming anything yesterday, but honestly, I didn't use up any skeins of yarn yesterday, so it all works out. I will be, doing some check-ins throughout the month, and we'll see how far I get. Okay, guys, I just finished my first skein of the month, and I have decided that I'm going to put all my finished skeins into this Hatsune Miku bag. Just finished a skein of my Karen spice cake right here and made a very, very long scarf. I also finished this kerchief, hooks and needles kerchief thingy, but because I did not finish the skein, I am not counting that. So yeah. In good spirits, I also finished up this almost used skein of KNC cotton. Hey guys, I got some knitting done today, but definitely no skeins finished. I did not film yesterday because I didn't finish any skeins yesterday, but today I finished my hat. And I have about this much of the chunky yarn left, and honestly, I'm just gonna count that as a skein finished. So yeah, that's one skein finished of the Premier Bloom Chunky. Okay, so I did quite a bit of crocheting yesterday, but I was too busy to film. Of the things I crocheted, I only finished this skein of Paintbox Erin right here. Yeah. I didn't record for the past couple of days, mainly because I didn't finish anything in the past couple of days, but I finished this skein of Big Twist Petite. So it's been a while since I've updated you on anything that I've done. Mainly because I haven't actually finished any skeins of yarn. Shocking, right? I did do a lot of crocheting. For example, I actually weaved in all my ends, and I also put together all of these squares with the join as you go method, but I was hoping that would actually use up the skein of yarn, but it didn't because that skein was like a pound of love. I mean, I figured it would take a while, but I was just expecting to use more yarn. I don't know. Yeah, no yarn finished, but maybe if I work on a couple of other things, I might actually finish something. Hey guys, I just came back from a craft night with some friends, and I finished 4 skeins of the Loops and Threads Charisma Bulky. You can hear Sonic in the background, but I started using some scrap yarn to basically make a scrap yarn granny square blanket, and I used up one of the 4 random skeins of yarn that the Centro machine came with, and I'm just gonna count that. And because there's no info on what kind of yarn it is, I assume it's acrylic, but I'm just basically using the specs of the Big Twist Mini and just copy pasting that in my tracking. So that's 1 skein down. Hey guys, I got a skein update. I basically finished 2 of these. I only have 1 label, but I did 2. So I'm gonna count that as my skein finished. I also got quite a ways through my star blanket, but I didn't finish the skein, so I'm not counting it. I forgot to film last night, but I finished these 2 skeins of yarn. Hey guys, a little update for you on the skein count. As I was making some scrappy granny squares, I ended up finishing my skein of Big Twist Tweed. I unfortunately do not have the label because I threw it out somehow in cleaning up my craft room, but I'm gonna make sure I count all the specs for it anyway. It is February 27th. I have not finished any skeins of yarn, and the likelihood of me finishing a skein of yarn tonight or tomorrow on the 28th is very, very slim. If it happens, but I have a feeling that this will probably be my last update before my final roundup, which I'm going to have to film tomorrow in order for me to release this video on Saturday, which is March 1st. I just know I am not going to finish a skein of yarn today or tomorrow. I think I'm going to count up my skeins right now. I have been counting them up as I edit throughout the video, so on your end you'll see it, but I just want to count the physical wrappers anyway. So here are all the skeins I have saved from this month in my Hatsune Miku bag. We have 1 Mandala Baby Ombre, 1 Karen Spice Cake, 4 skeins of the Loops and Threads Charisma yarn. I have 2 skeins here, but I actually finished 4 skeins of the weird yarn that came with my Centro machine. 1 skein of the Premier Bloom Chunky Big Skein. 1 skein of Big Twist Petite. 1 skein of the Hooks and Needles yarn. 1 skein of Paintbox Cotton Aran. Also not shown in my bag is a skein of Big Twist Fleck. And 1 skein of the KNC Essential Cotton. So in total, that is 16 total skeins of yarn used within the month of February. Now, that's not necessarily all the yarn I used this month. There were some other skeins of yarn, and also some of those skeins of yarn were partially used too. So I think it kind of evens out all the same. So for example, I actually used a lot of a Lion brand Pound of Love yarn, but because I didn't finish a skein, I don't count it. Or like the skein of cotton yarn I used was almost done anyway, so again, it all adds up. Because I'm a little bit more crazy, I actually counted up not only the skeins, but the grams, meters, yards, ounces of yarn used, because, you know, each skein has a different weight and all that associated with it. I have actually been tallying up all the yarn used on a Google Doc. So I'm going to read this off for you now. In the month of February, I finished 16 skeins of yarn, but for math purposes, that is 2,353 meters, 2,569 yards, 1,482 grams, and 52.1 ounces. 16 skeins is a lot of yarn, but also it's not a lot of yarn at the same time. And it all kind of depends, right? Yarn usage is kind of a personal thing, right? So I do crochet part-time. It is my hobby. This is not my full-time job. You can kind of say I cheated a little bit because I went on a business trip, brought crochet with me, and had like 3 hours back and forth of crochet time. Does that count? I don't know. It is what it is. Those are my numbers for this month. This is also a pretty short month too, so who knows? With that, I'm going to conclude my video here. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and if you find yourself curious about seeing how much yarn you use in 1 month, maybe you can try this out too. Bye!